Hey everyone, welcome to The Alternates, a basketball show for the others where we like to showcase independent music and discuss all things basketball. We've got a great show lined up for you today. I am here in Nashville, Tennessee. The playoffs started and I immediately went to a city that doesn't have a basketball team because that is just the perfect alt thing to do. But we still have some stuff to go through today. We're going to be checking out the headliners. We're going to be playing 3-pack. And of course, it's Friday. That means it's time to hit the Casino of Clayton in BetBrains. All that and more coming up right after this, which is Pulso by Accidente off their self-titled 2016 Pulso LP. We'll see you in just a moment. What is up, y'all? Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. We, of course, are The Alternates. I am your host, Brian Cullen, and with me is everyone's favorite Jalen Brunson truther,
yes.
Clayton Stevens.
Yes.
Clayton, good to see you.
Great to see you.
We got a couple episodes together in person, and then one of us immediately had to go out of town. That is just how we do it now.
That's just how we do it.
Well, we can never stay in one place for very long. Before we jump into the show, I just want to take a quick second, ask you all to subscribe to the show on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Go ahead and like the video, leave a comment, leave us a rating and review, but more importantly, share the show. It really, really helps other people just like you find this show, and we can continue to build this community of sports alts. If you want to get a hold of us, you can do so by emailing the show, thealternateshoop@gmail.com, and go ahead and follow us on TikTok at thealternatesNBA. Clayton, as the sicko season continues, how are you handling it?
You know what? I'm handling it well. It's nice to be back home and off the road, actually, for me. And so I'm enjoying just vegging out, watching a ton of playoffs, and it's been a really good time. I've also been going out and seeing movies, went to a couple shows as well, so trying to keep my social meter up as well so that I'm not just isolated Gollum watching the playoffs by myself.
Just you in a basketball jersey with long fingernails and jars of urine everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to avoid that. And so far doing my best. How are you doing? How's it out there in Tennessee?
It's good. This is my first real time spending time in Nashville. I love it. We're out here visiting some friends. My partner's best friend just had a birthday yesterday, so we came out to surprise her for that. And yeah, we're just kind of taking it easy. It reminds me a little bit of Austin. which I'm
Yeah,
very
you're in an
familiar
alt
with.
capital, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the southern alt capitals. But no, it's good to see friends get out of town. They have this incredible dog that is it's a pug mixed with a chihuahua, and is the chillest dog I've ever met. So I'm loving it. I'm having a good time. Miss the cats, but it's a short turnaround trip. I'll be back next week for sure. But that has not stopped me from watching basketball. So let's get into it with headliners.
All right, yeah, let's do it.
So there's two things I want to get out of the way first here in headliners that are a little bit of a bummer, where we've got Chris Middleton with an MCL sprain and Devin Booker with a hamstring sprain, both out for their series, respectively. Yeah. We don't know about any return dates, but hopeful that they return for a round 2 if their teams advance that far. Which one of these is more devastating?
Look, I obviously am the guy who said that Devin Booker should be considered for MVP.
Yeah.
He's obviously a very important player to their team, arguably the most important player to their team. But I'm going with Chris Middleton on this one. And the reason that I'm going with Chris Middleton is the path forward for these teams. Right. So if you look at where the Suns are at, they're playing the Pelicans right now. And look, they're going to have to get past the Pelicans. The Pelicans have played really well. They're not going to be a walkover. But let's say they get past the Pelicans. Their next round, they would be facing one of either Dallas or Utah. Obviously, Dallas is favored at this point. Luka maybe could return by then, but maybe he would be hobbled. Probably an easier path forward than if you look over to the Bucks side of the bracket. If they were to get past Chicago, same situation. Chicago's playing well. You never know. But let's say they get past them. They're going to be playing one of either Boston or Brooklyn. And when it comes to those two teams, you got to score the basketball. And what Chris Middleton does is he scores the basketball. One of the most underrated players in the NBA. And, even in the finals, scoring 40 points, always just kind of there when you need him. He's that guy. Mm-hmm. And I just think that they're really, really, really going to miss him. And I feel like Devin Booker has a chance to come back at a point in this run that makes it a little easier for the Suns to reintegrate him, get him back ready for their hopeful run to the finals that they're hoping for. For the Bucks, I'm pretty worried that it's, by the time he comes back, is it going to be too late? That's sort of the question I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, it's tough. And it's funny. Both of these teams that are losing integral parts to their teams are looking at a second round where a team might be adding an integral part, right? So let's say with the Suns, it is Dallas. We're looking at Luka probably being back for round 2. And then with the Bucks, you're looking at either Robert Williams being back for Boston, or you're looking at Ben Simmons being back for Brooklyn. So it's pretty dire either way. I truly, I think I'm with you though, just because of what you're saying. That second round matchup makes it a bit more difficult for Milwaukee. They are facing a more formidable opponent, whichever way this first round goes.
Yeah, and I think Milwaukee is becoming thin in a way, losing that rotation piece. You really are relying on guys like Grayson Allen or Pat Connaughton to fill that role. It's a lot to ask for those guys. Those guys playing spot minutes, I think, is perfect for their team. To ask them to be full-fledged rotation guys, it's a big thing. We'll see if those guys can step up. Both guys that are certainly capable of it. But
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay. Now we did this last time. I loved the formula. I think I want to stick to it. Instead of recapping every single game, every series, we're going to pick 3. We're going to pick the stud, we're going to pick the dud, and then we're going to open the flood and overreact to one.
Yep.
Stud. I'm going to let you pick the stud. Who's your stud so far in the first 2 or 3 games of these round 1s?
My stud is a huge surprise. It's the Pelicans and Suns.
Wow. From dud to stud.
From dud to stud. I mean, what can you say? The Pelicans are playing absolutely amazing right now. In this game specifically, Brandon Ingram easily looked like the best player on the floor.
Yeah.
Which is just absolutely amazing. And I just thought the Pelicans did a really wonderful job of controlling the tempo and pace of the game, and just everyone felt like they were filling in their role exactly as needed. I thought Larry Nance Jr. was absolutely phenomenal, just filling in the gap everywhere that you need him to.
He's doing a little bit of everything. And for me, Larry Nance, the surprising part is like his passing and playmaking from the 3-point line has been great.
Yep. Yeah, totally. And look, I mean, offensively, we knew that the Pelicans were a good team, right? Like Ingram, Valanciunas, McCollum, even Devontae Graham. Like these are all like good scoring players.
Yeah.
But what's really impressed me is defensively. Valanciunas has been phenomenal. Larry Nance, who I mentioned, has been phenomenal defensively. Herb Jones, who we talked about in the last episode, has been really great defensively. They've taken away kind of all the easy baskets for the Suns.
Yeah.
I thought they were getting really nothing at the rim and nothing easy. And now really the Pelicans, they're hardly playing Devontae Graham. They've gone to this sort of jumbo, I don't even know what you call the lineup that they're playing right now, but they're long, they're fast, they're athletic, and they have enough scoring with CJ and Brandon Ingram to be super dangerous. From the Suns side, Ayton, I think, has been really underwhelming.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that that's a huge story for the Suns moving forward. Ayton's going to have to step up and show that he can do something in this matchup.
Yeah, especially without Devin Booker. And, you know, there was all the talk about how he was the one that didn't get an extension this last off season and all of this. So it's really time for Ayton to kind of prove it to everybody and to himself.
Yeah. And I've thought in the playoffs in general, not in this series, but in general, Ayton has done a really good job punishing whoever his matchup is and killing small ball and not letting teams do that. Now he's going to have to prove it versus a team that isn't going small, rather kind of a big, long team.
Yeah.
And so let's see what he can do with that. Really, really happy for the Pelicans fans. And dude, their home game is going to be awesome.
I can't wait. Yeah, I cannot wait to see that home crowd go nuts. Okay, let's pick a dud. I'm going to pick the dud here. And this one's a dud for multiple reasons. Mainly emotionally for me, because I was looking forward to this series so much. I had hyped this series up so much, and it's Sixers Raptors. The Raptors are done. Look, game 3 was wildly entertaining. We got overtime. You got the, huge performance by Embiid, but Embiid is the reason why this is a dud. He is just dominating Toronto. They're done. They're down 3-0. It's just not going to happen for them. I was expecting more. I think ultimately what I'm seeing from Toronto is a lack of maturity and experience from some of the young guys. Fred VanVleet, fully believe in him. He's ready to go, ready to do it. But you need more from guys like Precious Achiuwa to kind of step up, make better decisions, understand their roles a little more in the postseason. And look, credit to Philly. They have 100% dictated the pace of this series, and they have been in the driver's seat basically the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Nurse's playbook this season was play 6 or 7 guys, one of which was their, rookie sensation Scotty Barnes, who's out. And the moment he goes out, that lineup just looks kind of thin. I think Nick Nurse looked down at the bench and realized, oh boy, I don't really have anyone to play here. So, not a lot of adjustments left for the Raptors. Like you said, I thought they competed hard and a really successful season for the Raptors here, especially with the development of Scotty, which by far is the most important thing for this team moving forward.
Yes.
But you're right. This was a dud playoff series. The NBA hipsters were all picking the Raptors to upset. and they were wrong. I think the thing to look moving forward though, from the Sixer side is James Harden has not been very good. He's been mediocre at best. But, Embiid's been so good, Maxi's been so good, it hasn't really mattered. Moving forward though, I think they're going to need to get a lot more out of James Harden, because in the next round, let's say they face Miami, they're going to need more scoring, and they're going to need,
Embiid
we'll see how long this Maxey thing can go.
Dominate the way he's been dominating against Toronto, against Miami, because there is a big difference between Bam Adebayo and Chris Boucher. It's a huge difference. Yeah. So they are going to need a lot more production for James Harden, who I think is one of the guys under the most pressure this playoffs, in terms of just like individual legacy and pressure and all of it. I think James Harden is at the top of that list. And if he does not step up, 100%. If he does not step up, it's going to be hard for him to shake any stink that's on him.
Yeah, I totally agree. And like I said, contract status moving forward, Philly wanting to give him a 5-year extension.
Yeah.
He's got to prove something here. And the Maxey thing, he's playing phenomenally. The bubble's going to pop. Like, we've seen him play too much. Like, Maxey is not a 30-point per game scorer at this point. I mean, maybe he is. Maybe he's just turned the corner in the playoffs and, the guy he was 3 weeks ago is the guy he no longer is. But I think likely he's going to come down to earth a little bit, still play well, but you're going to need someone to fill in that scoring gap. And, these 4 for 15 shooting performances and single digit assists, it's not going to get the job done.
Yeah, 100% agree. Okay, now let's open the flood. Let's overreact to a game or a series. What do you have for the floodgates?
Oh, it's easy. Mavericks, Jazz.
I'm so happy you picked this one.
God.
I'm so happy you picked this one.
I'm in heaven right now watching the Mavericks just absolutely destroy the Utah Jazz without Luka.
You have been the Jalen Brunson guy since this started. I'm going to let you overreact to the Mavs. I'll overreact to the Jazz because I've got stuff to say. But you start. You start with the Mavs here.
Yeah, look, I mean, Jalen Brunson, it kind of comes with the news of Jay Wright retiring, his coach in college. Jalen Brunson, 2-time national champion and just one of the best college careers you'll ever see, was a natural born leader in college and has brought that over to the NBA. And when you put him in a big moment, man, like this guy just seems to always step up. It feels like he's an absolutely integral piece of the Mavericks moving forward. They cannot let him go. They're going to have to find a way to keep him no matter what.
Yeah.
And to do this without Hardaway, to do this without Luka, it's extremely impressive. And the ball is in Jalen Brunson's hands. And it's funny because he's kind of running a little bit of a Luka offense a little bit. And it gives me hope for the Mavericks moving forward of, hey, you can sit Luka for some time. And we've seen him run out of gas at the end of series going super hard.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to be as much of a problem moving forward, because you can just put the ball in Jalen Brunson's hands and let him go for a while. And also he's shown that he can play off of Luka super well. So couldn't be more high on Brunson, couldn't be more high on the way that this team is playing right now. They just feel like they're playing real team basketball.
Yeah.
The ball's moving, zipping all over the place. They have figured out what everybody figures out every playoffs, which is that you go small against the Jazz, you pull out 5 shooters, and the Jazz have no counter. They have no counter because Rudy Gobert is one of their best players, and they can't take him off the floor, and their perimeter talent just isn't very good.
Yeah. Perfect segue into my overreaction here.
Please.
And this is blow up the Jazz. Look, they have gotten a lot of heat on this show this season, and rightfully so. This team's expiration date has already passed. They the front running regular season collapse in the playoffs frauds has happened year after year after year. We're way past the point of giving it any kind of another chance, maybe, one extra player. Like, no, man, this team is done. Blow it up. I'm done with the Jazz. This iteration of the Jazz has got to be done. This is look, you and I can relate to this, being guys that love the Clippers. This is the Lob City Clippers. Okay, you come up short every single year. At a certain point, you have to say this is not the team. Blow it up. Lob City waited probably a season or two too late to like blow it up. Really, they held on a little bit too long, and that's where I'm at with the Jazz now too. It's done. The roster's done. This isn't the one. I'm sick of this Jazz team.
Dude, I totally get it. And the player who pisses me off the most by far, who I just aesthetically do not enjoy his game, period, is Royce O'Neal.
Wow.
This guy, man, when he makes 1-3, he blows kisses to the crowd and acts
Dude,
like
they've got more than one of those guys. They've got Jordan Clarkson.
It's ridiculous, dude. And this dude, Royce O'Neal, got paid to be a defensive stopper. Yeah. Not stopping a damn thing on the perimeter.
Yeah.
They are the ultimate regular season frauds. There's just no question. And it actually came home to roost before the end of the regular season this year, where teams were like, what if we just did the thing that everybody does every playoffs, but just during the season?
Yeah.
And they became a pretty mediocre team pretty quickly. Obviously, you're saying blow it up. We don't want to get too deep into the stuff where this is going to be great off-season content, but are they blowing this up, like blowing it up? Or are we keeping one of these guys? Are we building around somebody? What do you think the Jazz will do moving forward?
I think that they hold on to Donovan Mitchell and they build around him. I think Gobert and basically anybody else is up for grabs right now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I
don't agree with it, but that's what I think is going to happen.
I'm with you. I think one of the locks of the offseason is that we will see Rudy Gobert on an Eastern Conference team.
I love that. Okay. All right. Let's have some fun now. Let's play a game. It's time for 3-pack. Now, you, I understand, have a 3-pack ready for me this week.
That is exactly right.
Okay.
So, look, we're past it now, but I was doing some reading about the play-in tournament.
Okay.
Right. So the play-in tournament idea was approved by Adam Silver and the Board of Governors during the NBA bubble season in Orlando. They originally had it as an idea to reward the teams who had made the trip down to the bubble. Remember, not all the teams were invited down to the bubble.
Yeah, it was the COVID Invitational.
It was the COVID Invitational, exactly. So this is a way to reward those teams, hopefully get an extra game out of it, little extra TV revenue. After the successful trial run in the bubble, basically, the owners decided to approve this moving forward on sort of a trial basis. They've been doing it year by year. This year, obviously, was extremely successful. There's been some quotes from the Board of Governors about how this is going to stay forever. Feels like as of last year's format, which they changed from the original bubble one. So in the bubble, you had to be within 4 games to trigger a play-in game for the 8th seed.
Right.
As of last year, they've switched over to what's now known as the Paige McIntyre system. 7 plays 8. The loser of that plays the winner of 9-10. It's sort of a double single elimination tournament.
Right.
So that leads us to 3 things that have happened so far in the history of the play-in tournament. Okay. So there have been 8 play-in games since 2021, right? So not including the bubble. So we're talking about the play-in games that have happened, the 7-8 games, and the 9-10 games. So we're talking about the actual play-in tournament. There have been 8 play-in games since 2021. So far, the higher seed has won each of those games. 7 has beaten 8, 9 has beaten 10. The number 8 seed games, so you got me there. The 8 games, all of them have been won by 7 over 8, 9 over 10. The number 8 seed game, which is the second game, have also gone the same 4-0, but with the 9 seed beating the 8 seed each time.
Okay.
So that's my first fact. The second one, this season, Trae Young leads the play-in tournament scoring with 38 points, but the play-in game all-time leading scorer is Jason Tatum with 50 points. And the last one here, Jonas Valanciunas is the only player to be in the top 5 of total points and total rebounds scored in the play-in tournament with 54 points and 52 rebounds.
Okay. All right. So 8 play-in games since 2021. 7 has always beat 8. 9 has always beat 8, right? So basically, if you're in the 8th seed in the play-in, you're screwed.
Yep.
Okay. This season, Trae led the tournament, but all-time is Jason Tatum. Oh, man, I'm really struggling to remember last year's Eastern Conference play-in because it was all about the West. You had LeBron and the Warriors. That was like kind of like John Morant's coming out party. I really remember last year's West play-in more than I remember the East. So that one's tough. And Jonas Valanciunas, only player to be in the top 5 total points and total rebounds scored in the play-in tournament, which would make sense, especially because he played 2 games this year. I'm going to say number 1 is the lie. Because let me think about this. 7-8 this year in the East. That was Nets, and they won their game, so they beat 7. Oh, I guess the Hawks were the 9 over the Cavs. Wow, I'm second guessing this now. I'm still gonna say 1's the lie. I feel like an 8 seed has won at least once in the last 2 years. So I think that's the lie.
Okay, yeah, you are caught on to it. The 8 seed has won exactly one time.
Okay.
They are the 9 seeds are 3-1 all time. The 8 seed to advance was Washington over Indiana last year.
Oh, wow. And that's exactly why I don't remember the Eastern Conference play.
Exactly right. So that's the only time so far an 8 seed has actually been the 8 seed in the play-in tournament. Every time other than that, the 9 seed has secured the 8 seed spot. Jason Tatum. Yeah, Jason Tatum is the play-in tournament high scorer with 50.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yep. And Jonas Valanciunas has played in 3 play-in games, 1 with Memphis and 2 with New Orleans.
Yep.
Which is why he has some pretty ridiculous numbers. He's over 20 rebounds more than the next guy, total rebounds, which is pretty awesome. So I just thought those were some fun playing stats there.
I'm just happy that the stats page at NBA.com has a play-in section now, because when they started this, it was just like these don't count towards the regular season, they don't count towards the playoffs, and these stats just float in the ether. So I'm glad that it's being tracked, because I mean, personally, I think it's the playoffs.
Opinion. Yeah, I wanted to get your opinion on this, right? So the NBA says that these are not playoff games because this is to qualify for the playoffs, and so that these stats should not go into your playoff stats. I kind of agree with that. I kind of understand that, but I do think they should go into your regular season stats. That's what I would say. To me, it's kind of like, I don't know if you're familiar with in baseball. If
with
two teams tie, well, before the wild card, if 2 teams tie, they would have what's called the game 163, and they would have an extra game to decide the winner there. And to me, this play-in is kind of like that.
Okay.
I get that it's, it's interesting to put it off into its own thing, but some of these guys are actually going to have pretty big numbers now that I'm looking at it. And some of these guys are going to return year after year, right? Like Jonas Valanciunas having 52 rebounds. Like, that's got to go in somewhere. That's got to be part of his career. It doesn't sit right with me that they're just his play-in stats. So I think they got to figure out some kind of way to add those either to their playoff or regular season stats. But it's fun to look at just these play-in games too. I hope they keep that section, even if they do add it, because it's fun to look sort of at this
just to play in,
weird, like I said, double single elimination tournament. And I think that this is only the beginning of the NBA adding more tournaments. I think that we're going to see a lot more of this sort of format and this kind of style moving forward. Maybe less regular season games, which is something that Adam Silver has put out into the world a couple of times.
Yeah, I agree. That was good, though. It was a good one. I was not confident, I'll say that. So I appreciate that. All right, let's get into the final segment here. Time for our trip to the Casino of Clayton in BetBrains. So what do we got this week in BetBrains, Clayton?
All right. So first, before we get into this week's bets, of course, we got to recap the bets from last week. So first, we had the Raptors at Sixers. In game one, I had Joel Embiid going over 34.5 points and 15.5 rebounds at plus 120 odds. You put 50 alternates dollars down. You lost on this one. He only had 19 points. 15 rebounds, so you lost both sides of it, but they did end up winning the game. He didn't end up needing 35 and 16 to win.
Damn you, Tyrese Maxey.
Tyrese Maxey scoring 38, I think, was plenty enough in that game. All right, the second bet here, we had Timberwolves at Grizzlies. That was game one. You could either choose Ja Morant or Anthony Edwards to lead the game in scoring. You went with the super hot Anthony Edwards. You put $50 on him, and it
certainly did. Yes,
Anthony Edwards scores 36 points in the upset. Phenomenal, and you won 150. So there you go on that one.
Let's go.
And the last one here, we had Bulls at Bucks, game one. I had DeMar DeRozan over 2.5 3-pointers made. He didn't even shoot one.
He shot two. No, he went
shot
0
two.
for 2.
You're right. Okay, yeah,
he went 0 for 2.
Yep, he went 0 for 2. Didn't even get up 3 attempts, unfortunately. So you lost 50 on that one. But look, you put 200 down. You put 50 on that Timberwolves bet, won 150. You broke even at exactly 200. You can't feel bad about breaking even. That's always solid. Anytime you go to the casino and
I put 150 down. It was 50 on each bet.
Yes. You're exactly right. Okay, so yeah, you won $50. Even better.
Even better. All right. So what are the weekend bets this week?
Okay, so you won 150. How about that? So you essentially broke even.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so for this week's bets, let's start off. I got on Saturday, the 23rd, Celtics at Brooklyn. How about Kevin Durant over 42 minutes played? What do you think?
Yes, I think I put $100 on that. Yes.
Okay.
I think that is a very safe bet. Okay. If that was under, I would be terrified. But yes, I think he's going to play like 43 minutes in that game.
Yeah, I think that's very likely. Look, this is it's a must-win game for the Nets. Part of my thinking here is maybe they blow them out and Kevin Durant doesn't even end up playing that many minutes. He went under 42 in one of the games, over 42 in the other game. We shall see. If it comes down to a close one, he's going to hit on that one.
Yeah.
And by the way, that was plus 125 odds.
I didn't even care about the odds.
Yeah.
Just put 100 on it.
Yeah, put 100 on it. Why not? Okay, but the second one here. On Sunday, we got the Suns at New Orleans. We know who needs to step up for the Suns. Chris Paul over 15.5 assists, plus 200 odds. How you feeling about this one?
Not as confident, especially with Devin Booker out. That two-man game is a big part of what they do. Obviously, I think he's going to be running more pick and roll with DeAndre Ayton, which opens up some possibility for assists for him there. But I don't know. I don't have a good just gut feeling for this one. So I'm going to put 25 on this one.
Okay.
Not a huge fan of this one. I mean, dude, 16 assists is a lot to ask somebody.
Yep. If there's anyone who can do it, though, I think Chris Paul is the guy
Totally fair
to do that in this game. Okay, and last one here. I think this one's really fun. It's Sunday, Miami at Atlanta. Anyone besides Trae Young leads the Hawks in scoring.
Yeah.
Plus 400 odds. Obviously, Trae is the heavy favorite to lead the team in scoring. But can someone else lead their team in scoring? What do you think?
Yeah, put 100 on this one.
Ooh.
I'm buying into it. I am buying into this one. We have seen since the play-in, Trae have these games where he's not particularly great.
Yes.
And that Miami defense, Miami really wants to get this series over with. And I think they are going to clamp down on Trae Young and dare somebody else to do it, which means I do think somebody else will lead in scoring. So
wow,
I'm taking this one.
I love it. Obviously, I'm expecting Trae Young to bounce back, have a huge game at home. But you're right. I mean, so far, I think Miami has looked like the best defensive team in the playoffs, and they're not letting anything easy go by. So if Trae is going to lead the game and score, he's going to have to work for it super hard.
Yeah. Okay, well, we will check back next week to see how I did on these bets. Hit us up in the comments. Let us know where you are putting your alternates dollars on these weekend bets.
Yes.
Clayton, thank you so much for setting those lines. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We will be back next week to check in, maybe picking a new stud, picking a new dud, opening a new flood. Who knows? We'll see. Clayton, what are we leaving everybody with today?
Okay, so last night, I went to go see Military Gun play their first headlining Los Angeles show. And they brought with them a band from Canada called Mil-Spec. Love Mil-Spec. Really cool, really smart, interesting hardcore band. And they put out a record in 2020 called World House on Locking Out Records. And the song's called Parade. It's a real cool, interesting song.
Hell yeah. Everything's coming up Mil-Spec. Thank you all. We will see you soon.
See ya.